Want to get started with the PowerApps component framework? Well, today I'm going to show you how. I'm Tech Tweedy. Let's get started. So to do this today, we're going to be using TypeScript and HTML. And the tools we're going to be using are Visual Studio Code, the Pack Tools extension for VS Code, and NodeJS. In terms of why we build our PCFs, we do it to extend our PowerApps and to do things that can't be done out of the box. And we have an option of two frameworks. We can use our standard controls that don't come with React, and we can also use controls that do come with React, also known as virtual controls. These controls take advantage of React that is already being used in Dataverse, and therefore it reduces the size of your control. Now, we've also got a choice of two templates. We've got a dataset template and a field template. Now, these are for two different types of problems. We can deal with data coming from a field into our control, or we can deal with a subgrid or a view coming into our control. So two different scenarios really we're handling there. So let's get started. So I'm just going to jump onto my dev machine here, and we're going to get Node.js installed. So to do this, we need to go to nodejs.org. We need to click on downloads and then click on pre-built installer. The version we're interested in is the LTS version. Once we've downloaded it, we're just going to install it, accept the agreements, and click through the process. And let's just finish that off. The next thing we need to do is we need to go across to Visual Studio Code. And inside Visual Studio Code, within extensions, we need to install Power Platform Tools. If we just install that there, brilliant. Now that's installed, we're going to do a pack auth create, and we're going to do that against the environment Tech Tweedy. And you can get this address by either going to the admin center of your Power Platform environment or by accessing a model-driven app. It's in the address bar at the top. Just wait for that authorization to go through. Just sign in here. As I'm just completing this sign in, all of the videos and all of the clips are all within the blog post that accompanies this, along with all the commands that I've run, so you can just copy and paste them if you want. But now I'm just going to check the auth list to check that I'm active against the particular one I'm interested in. As you can see there's a star in the active, and also to show that I've only got one actually on this particular environment. The next thing I need to do is I need to make a working directory. So now I've made that, and now inside my working directory I need to use the pack PCF initialize commands. But first of all, we'll run the help just to show you all the various commands that are available, and also show you that help is available every time you run a command. If you're not sure what the commands are you could be passing in, just type help and it'll give you a list. Now for this I'm going to do pack PCF initialize. My name, I'm giving it the name Tech Tweedy Control 11, and my namespace is Tech Tweedy Control NS11. Now the type of the control, the template I'm going to be using today is the field template. And now that's complete, I'm just going to run npm install. Now npm install does take a couple of minutes to run, so I'm not going to make everyone sit through that and just skip forwards. So now we're going to open up our folder and we'll be able to see our working directory. And we're going to run through some of the files within that working directory just to kind of give you. So first of all, at the top, you'll notice we've got our node modules. Now there's a lot in there. And then we've got this control folder. Now this contains the code we're really going to be using today and the things we're going to be changing. We've also got our ESLint here and our package JSON. Our ESLint is particularly useful if we can't get something into Dataverse, or we need to switch something off, we can change things within that quite easily. So you'll see here we have our initialization. So this is done at the point of our control is loaded into the page. We've then got our update view. This is run every time the property bag changes. We've then got our return. Our return is done, is how we push data back to Dataverse, and then we've got our destroy for when we need to destroy things from the DOM tree at the end and do our cleanup. So next I'm going to show you the control manifest input. Now this is what this tells Dataverse about our control basically, and we've got our namespace and our constructor listed at the top. But you also see we've got description we can edit. We've also got our version there, which we'll need to increment, or we should increment when we do upload new versions of our control. And you can see there we've got a standard type of control, and that's where we'll see virtual when we're doing a React one in a future video. So if we look here, we've got our property name. Now our property name is probably the most important thing because that's where our data is coming in, and this is what we're talking to when we start using our context later on. So for now, we're just going to start up Harness. So to do that, we open up the terminal and we do npm start watch. Now this will open up our web browser. Because this is the first time running it on this dev machine, it's going to ask me allow. I like to run with clean dev machines quite a lot. So we've got our local host connection at the top. And as you can see, there's nothing inside here because, as you've just seen, there's no code at the moment. It's just an empty shell. So let's add some console logs so we can see when the different parts of the code are executing. We're just going to add a console log here, and we're going to call it initialize or init. And then we're going to add another one here on the update view just to show the update view is triggering. Now let's save that. We can save it at the top. You can also just press Ctrl S. Just want to show everyone that that's where the save is for this, if they haven't used Visual Studio Code before. Now our controller will have reloaded, but we need to get our console open. So let me just drag up our console here, and you can see our init and our update view have come through. So that's really good. So the next we're going to do is we're going to see if we can pull through our context, because when we update this value, we can see the update is running, but we haven't got the value isn't there to play with. So let's go and do that. So we're going to go to our initialize, and we're going to just console log out our context object. We just save that with Ctrl S. And now we can see we've got this rather large object, which contains all kinds of useful goodies, but the one that we're interested in today is under parameters. And then you can see our sample properties showed up there, and then we've got raw. So let's take that and let's update this. And when we save this, we should be able to bring whatever value we enter through onto the screen. Through onto the console log. And you can see their test is already rendered because as soon as we hit save, the harness refreshes. And now let's see if we can create an input element. So I'm going to copy and paste some code in here I prepared earlier. And this is just going to create a property for us to start update. So create the property at the top. And then we're going to update the property down here. Bring this code in, and first we're going to do is we're going to create an input element. Then we're going to set some attributes of that element. We're going to tell it's a text element. And then finally, we're going to set the value of that element to be our context.parameters.sampleProperty.raw. And then we need to handle in case there's an empty value. So we've handled that. See. And finally, we need to append our element to our container. So our container is what's rendered on the page. And as you can see there, when we've saved, it's refreshed and it's coming straight through. However, when we update this value, it doesn't come through on the page, does it? And it doesn't come through until we hit refresh. Now that's not what we want. So let's see if we can handle that inside our code. And to do that, we're just going to borrow this line of code here on line 29. And we're going to move that down to our update view. And now you can see when we update this, it's coming through straight away. Fantastic. But when I update it the other way, it's not coming through. So to do that, we need to make some further changes. We pop back across to Visual Studio Code. We're going to add an event listener onto our input box. And this is going to run a function called notify output changed on an input event. And notify output change means we also need to pop something into this return. And what we're going to do is we're going to match up our sample property to the value of our input box. Save that and let's give it a go. And now when typing in, you can see it's coming through straight away. Brilliant. Okay, so let's get this control pushed up to Dataverse. So first of all, let's double check that I'm still got an authorization against Dataverse. And then the important thing here is to make sure you push to the right environment. I've had it before where I've pushed these into the wrong environment because you can get authorized against lots of different places. So pack PCF push, I'm not running init. I'm just going to run the help just to show you all the options you've got here. But the one that we're interested in is setting the publisher prefix. So if we run pack PCF push, then -pp, and then we pass in the value that we want our publisher prefix to be. Let's just push that up to Dataverse. So while this is just publishing up to Dataverse, I'll explain a little bit about what's going on here. So we are building our control and then we are putting it inside of a solution. That solution is then being uploaded to our Dataverse environment. And once it's been uploaded to our Dataverse environment, the solution is then being deleted. Now it's an unmanaged solution, so that obviously the component stays behind. This does take quite a while. You will pause the video at various points in order to speed this up for you, but this is not a quick process. While this is just completing as well, I will publish all this code out to my GitHub repository so you can use it and play with it and see what was done. And like I said earlier, I will list all the commands out in the blog post. Brilliant, so that's all done. So let's jump across the Dataverse and let's go and edit one of our model-driven apps. And let's go and edit one of the forms. Now I'm just going to pull on the account name. And we've got that on twice. And we're going to change that. Yeah, make sure I've got it selected. And we're going to add our own component. Let's go and find our tech tweedy control 11. select it. Let's press done. Select it for all different types. You can see there that the Tech 2D Controller 11 is selected. Let's just save and publish that. You can see that the control updated on the screen straight away. And let's just publish our, because I was doing some other work in the model-driven app earlier, so I just want to make sure that's all cleaned off. So now when we open up our account 1, we can see, oh, we need to sign in again. Always happens at the most difficult moment. So you can see our PCF version and then the version from our standard model-driven app component. As we update it, it's updating at the same time. We've been able to save data with it. And as soon as we change it, it is changing to unsaved. Let's leave it there for today. If you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. There will be more videos coming out soon. Until then, stay safe.